I think in Return of the Jedi, he had a lot of confidence as a Jedi. In this book, he's still looking for so much more that he can grow. You know, not only when Ben Kenobi leaves him, but also when he's looking for like the books and tapes in the Yoda's cave. He's just looking for more stuff that he can, anything that can help him.
Maybe he's looking for tapes because, he's not as familiar with like holo drives or a holocron.
Right.
Oh my god, he must have freaked out when that Leia transmission played.
Witch.
Yeah.
A witch.
Oh my god, you brought a girl into my house.
Are we live now? Can she see me?
Hello there. You found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We will be your guides, Tim.
Hi, everyone.
Kyle.
Hey.
And I'm Scott. And we have Stuart.
G'day.
We will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 11 of Heir to the Empire. So, Stuart, what happened so far?
Well, after Grand Admiral Thrawn conducts 3 simultaneous raids in the Sluis van sector, Leia, Organa-Solo, and Han Solo travel to Bpfassh to show their diplomatic support with the recovery effort. While there, they are ambushed for a second time by the same unknown aliens from Bimmisaari. They manage to escape, but Han decides it's time to go outside New Republic jurisdiction for help. Meanwhile, Luke Skywalker has been training Leia as his first student. He has been struggling with self-doubt as the teacher needed to rebuild the Jedi Order. Thrawn has allied himself with Master Joruus C'baoth, clone and Dark Jedi. Captain Pelleaon devises a plan to disseminate information that might lure Luke to C'baoth instead of sending more noghri to capture him. Finally, Mara Jade has apprenticed to the smuggler Talon Card as they play cat and mouse to tease information out of each other. And Tim, what happened in this chapter?
Well, in this chapter, Luke travels to Dagobah on a hunch, hoping to find something, anything, left by Yoda to guide his uncertain footsteps into the future. Finding nothing in Yoda's old dwelling, he ventures into the dark side cave from Empire Strikes Back and is confronted with a vision. A retelling of Luke's attempted execution at the Great Pit of Carkoon, where his lightsaber is intercepted by a mysterious woman. Rewarded for his ordeal, Luke emerges with a nondescript gadget with markings that R2-D2 suspects might be recognized by Lando.
I really enjoyed this chapter. I like the ambiance of it.
Me too.
Yeah. It really captured a lot of what I felt was on screen in Empire Strikes Back. And just like this, particularly for me, it was the sound of the bird call. And I have a really distinct memory of what that sounds like. Me
too, now that you mention it.
I think it might be from like one of the Battlefront games where you actually fight on Dagobah, and you can actually hear that bird call happening. So I think that's quite... I would like to know if that's a real bird that they captured or if they constructed that sound.
Ooh. Probably a mixture of both.
There's a chance that it was just an intern. They were like, hey, we need you to sound like a bird.
The whole chapter, I was like, we are definitely going to the cave. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just beckoning him in, no matter how much he tries.
I wonder if the cave is like the room of requirement in Harry Potter, that it just like appears wherever he goes. And it's not like particularly that it's in one place. It's just that the cave is moving around to follow Luke.
Potentially. Although I don't know if the room of requirement moved. I think it was always in the same spot, but changed its interior.
Yeah.
Right. I thought the entrance was somewhere on the 5th floor, and that would appear.
But it could make different passages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, possibly. Although he described it as having the same layout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that he noted that it was more difficult to land this time.
Mm.
And that he thought it was because Yoda was assisting him the first time.
Yeah.
On Dagobah.
The dark side cave of requirement.
No, enjoyed how he was looking around and realizing that the swamp had already taken back Yoda's hut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. It's interesting because he was so surprised by that, because he's like, on Tatooine, everything just sits in the sun all day. Nothing
Yeah, it just gets tanner.
grows and right. But nothing decomposes apparently. But it's funny because the actual movie set in, I think it was Tunisia, has been just completely overrun by the wilds, and the sand is just consuming it.
Oh, yeah.
Last I checked, Tunisia is not Tatooine.
Right, but you would think that maybe Tatooine might have similar effects, but sure,
Yes, like shifting sands or
Right.
stuff being blown over. Like, I could imagine things being a little bit buried, but mostly intact.
right.
Tatooine is just that dull of a planet. Nothing moves there.
Yeah. I did think it was a good touch that he felt like it was a second, a huge disappointment of like being abandoned again, that he came back and stuff just, grass is growing under his feet.
Yeah.
I do like his, like, not like is the best word. I think his reluctance to go to the cave, even though it's very clearly everything's saying go to the cave, but he's like, I'll go check the hut first.
Yeah.
And then even after he's checked the hut, he's like, well, I don't have to go to the cave.
Yeah, but then R2's like, what we're looking for is in the cave, go.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of R2, I think it's weird that when Luke shows him the device that he found in the cave, he, like, R2 seems excited, but then, like, on second thought, R2's like, he's like, you know what, it's not that exciting. Maybe I've seen this. Maybe Lando had it.
Uh-huh.
Right, yeah.
So I'm drawing a
R2 must have
blank.
been waiting there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R2, I get the feeling of, like, he's kind of like a puppy dog, that he got, like, scared, like, loyal dog vibes from him because he didn't want to be left alone. And also, when Luke brings the little metal thing to show him, and he just gets all excited suddenly, and it's like, the dog finally, oh, you've come home, you've been gone for so long.
A toy for me.
Fetch, throw.
Right. He throws it, and R2 just jets off after it into the swamp.
With his horrible little CGI rocket boots.
Is it just me, or are dark side caves surprisingly useful?
Yeah.
Like holodecks.
Yeah. Are we going to say that they're like lawful evil?
I would say that they're more chaotic neutral.
Chaotic neutral?
I think I kind of had fun with them.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll give you your prize, but let me fuck with you a little bit.
Yeah. It did seem very trolly that he walks in the cave and can't take 12 steps without falling on his face 3 times.
But it helps him now. It helps him in Empire Strikes Back. Rey gets helped by one in Last Jedi. It seems like everyone needs a trip to the dark side cave once in a while.
I also like how he tried to sass the cave back when it showed him the vision, and he's just like, I've already seen this one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like, fast forward. No, I already seen it. Oh, wait. Oh, but...
What did you guys think of the content of the vision itself?
I thought it scared the shit out of him.
Yeah. Because it definitely has that same, like, the thing that he cares about most is protecting his friends, and that was the thing that he was worried about at the end of the vision. It wasn't that, like, oh, the execution, my execution was successful. It was that they're threatening my friends now.
Yeah. But it was also, he was just so just caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly he wasn't in control. And he was like, no, I've done this. But it's almost like he was questioning, did we actually do that? Did we actually make it through? Or is the vision telling me what actually happened? And that's kind of the vibe I was getting, that he was starting to question his reality almost.
Yeah.
True, that does speak to his self-doubt then.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably now questioning whether their victory was even a victory.
Right.
Right.
It's pertinent that we return to a location in The Empire Strikes Back when he's once again fearing that whether or not he can protect his friends.
I feel like he did express quite a lot of like nervousness around the tree, and I think that shows that he still has a long way to go as, you know, in his personal growth.
True.
Yeah. And the fact that he was looking for more books, and I like how Timothy Zahn used the phrase tapes, because this was in the 90s. Tapes and books for anything that he could find in Yoda's cave to help him along with his training. And it's interesting because he had, I think in Return of the Jedi, he had a lot of confidence as a Jedi, but in this book, he's still looking for so much more that he can grow. You know, not only when Ben Kenobi leaves him for the last time, but also when he's looking for like the books and tapes in Yoda's cave. He's just looking for more stuff that he can gain more information and anything that can help him.
Yeah. Do you think that Luke is looking for tapes because he grew up on a backwater world and didn't know about a lot of holo storage technology?
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
So maybe he's looking for tapes because he's not as familiar with like holo drives or, you know, a holocron. I don't know sure when holocrons were introduced into the canon, but
oh my god, he must have freaked out when that Leia transmission played.
Which?
Yeah. Oh my god, you brought a girl into my house.
Are we live now? Can she see me? No, I think he was familiar with holo technology, just like maybe not quote unquote modern storage technology.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like tapes or whatever were just more familiar to him.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's just what his uncle and aunt had. They may not have had the most recent, you know, maybe they had the 8-track instead of the CD player.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, when he went into the cave, he finally went into the cave. I was reminded of Yoda telling him that you don't need your blaster, you don't need your lightsaber in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke disobeys him and puts his belt on anyway and walks through the cave.
Yeah.
That the same thing happens, is that he was told that you only go in with what you bring with you, right?
Right.
And, you know, that speaks as well to the nameless fears that he had and realized that he was having, that as long as he didn't give control to the things that he's bringing in, these fears, then they can't be used against him by the cave. But he still brings his lightsaber into the cave this time, even though he knows from last time that he didn't need it, or he shouldn't need it, or he shouldn't have it.
And people say Last Jedi was regressive for Luke.
Uh-huh.
Right. So when he faced the Darth Vader that turned out to be like him in disguise or whatever, you know, his darkness in Empire Strikes Back, what do you think would have happened if he hadn't brought his lightsaber? And in this case as well.
I think that he might have like faced Darth Vader, but not in a duel. Like Vader wouldn't have had a lightsaber. He would have gone in to face his fears, but it wouldn't have been a duel or a phantom duel at the time.
I wonder if he would have even seen anything without his weapons. Because he's worried about if he can save his friends, and his weapons will help him with that.
True.
Especially since he has this heirloom from his father. And so by holding on to it, he holds on to that fear as well. And so I wonder if Yoda kind of knew that this boy was not going to let go of his weapons.
Right.
And so it became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I'm reminded of the look that Luke gives Yoda, like Screw you, I'm going to put my belt on.
I know, right? He just like completely ignores him, and he looks
Yeah.
ahead just like scared, like he doesn't even want to hear it.
I think it definitely says something that, he was going to the cave to face his fears, but he was afraid, and that's why he felt he needed his weapons to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't afraid, he wouldn't have brought his weapons.
The weapons gave him the confidence to go into the cave instead of having it within himself.
And then in his vision, the cave keeps like pulling the lightsaber away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want this?
I have a feeling that if he hadn't brought his lightsaber, that in the original, in Empire Strikes Back, if he hadn't brought his lightsaber, that he would have faced a vision of Vader torturing or bearing down on his friends instead of being a front-to-front, face-to-face confrontation.
I can
And
see
then
that.
in that instance, Luke would have done something with the Force to like pull Vader back or something, or like rip his mask off then to show that he himself is the thing that he fears as Vader. And if we would like to do that sequence again of like Luke chopping off his head or beheading him, and then the mask breaks open and it's Luke's face there, that to have something similar would be Luke's trying to save his friends, uses the Force to like create this big I don't know, cacophony or like maelstrom or something that rips Vader's masks off and it's just him underneath instead.
Yeah, I could see that being the vision if he hadn't had his weapons.
Yeah, I think so too.
Something about observing than being a direct participant.
Yeah, because maybe if he had seen them getting tortured, who knows, maybe he would have reached out for maybe some kind of dark side of the Force to, just like rage or something.
Or maybe even snatch Vader's lightsaber from his belt.
Yeah.
As well.
I would have liked to see that, Luke with a red lightsaber. Yeah.
Very ominous. I think that would have been quite high tension for the beginning of Return of the Jedi as well, when he comes out choking the Gamorrean guards.
I keep thinking about that.
It's like, it does make you wonder when our morality around Force powers started taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I didn't see it as choking. I thought he just like did like a sleeper roll kind of like thing, and they moved back into their crevices and started sleeping in the hallways.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait, did he just choke that dude? And it's like, because he like holds his neck. He's like, I mean, like father, like son, I guess. I don't know.
It was a pretty clear Force choke to me, but I didn't think any of it because I was just a kid. I was just like, yeah, get him.
They're bad guys. You choke bad guys.
Yeah.
He was just gonna check your ID. He wasn't gonna like shank you or nothing.
Who do you guys think the woman in the vision was?
Ooh, I know something I won't tell.
Oh, okay, Mr. Oh, wait, we have two people. Okay, so Stuart, Scott, shut up. Kyle, who do you think it was?
I don't know. It's Mara Jade. That's who it is.
That's what I think too.
Is Mara Jade? Is he Force? Does he have Force? Is he Force sensitive?
At this point, it's not really clear. But I think this is supposed to be the nod that it is going to be the case. But
is he going to kiss and have little Force babies?
Luke's going to be afraid of
all of this out.
Luke's going to be afraid of every single new woman that comes about aside from Leia.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Actually, speaking of Leia, what do you think of it possibly being Leia? Because...
Well, that's a really good... Yeah.
At this point in the story, Leia is the only other Force-sensitive. She is a woman, Force-sensitive woman, and Luke is not very confident in his ability to teach her. And if she falls down the same way that Obi-Wan tried to train Anakin, and in his hubris had Anakin fall to the dark side, maybe this is representative of Luke failing as a teacher to Leia and her possibly becoming a big rift in the story.
That's
is
a
possible.
really good explanation.
It is, yeah.
And
Or she's just holding
more-
him back, and Luke needs to cut her loose and go to town on the Empire.
Yeah, well, but more importantly, Leia was actually there on the barge. So,
Yeah, true.
and he knew that she was on the barge. He didn't know about this mystery person. It could have been, in his vision, it very well could have been Leia. I really like that explanation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a solid one.
Unfortunately, we all know that it's going to be Mara Jade.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I was just like, that seems obvious. But now you're like, I want to spoil it for Tim and Kyle and our readers.
No,
we can bleep it out.
Leia would have been so cool, though.
Yeah,
that
you can bleep it out, but we still know, Stuart.
Yes, we all know.
We all know that Tim is incredible at editing, but he can't edit memories out of our brains.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Or can I?
If you can, we need to talk.
What? What happened? Did we just talk about something? Were we talking?
Yes, Scott. Yes, we were.
We might chop that down to be a little less spoilery.
I mean, it could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore the culture that we have now, and that this exists in Star Wars 30 years later. And
on the other hand, though, what percent of people who are like generously, what percent of people who enjoy Star Wars even know who Mara Jade is? Because if I had to guess, 10%.
Well, I want to say it's a little higher than that. I would say it's higher than that, definitely among the older Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Definitely not so much among the younger Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
She's the Mary Jane of the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think it's more like when you say it's higher, are you saying like 12% or like 90%? Like, what do you think?
15, 20.
Okay. So
if I was to give you the back of the envelope calculation is measure these things by the 80-20 rule, is that of the entire Star Wars fandom, 20% probably read the expanded universe or know about the expanded universe.
Yeah.
But then of that 20%, I would say that not 20, but 80% of that 20% would probably be familiar with Mara Jade.
Okay.
That's a good estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I hadn't known she was, I knew, but I hadn't had any introduction to her from the books until this one. And so I didn't know this was her first appearance basically in Star Wars. But my first introduction to her was from the Dark Forces 2 expansion Mysteries of the Sith, where you actually play as her. That was a fun game.
Yeah.
Gotta get
I just calculated 80% of 20%. It is 16%. So 16% of Star Wars fans know who Mara Jade is. Math.
It's what our fans come here for.
Yeah. Now, when did Dark Forces 2 come out? Was it like 92?
90
something.
It's got to be after 91 because this was an introduction.
3 or 4.
97.
Oof.
97? Oh, okay. Yeah.
We got to wait for everybody to get computers in their homes.
Right. That could actually run that game. Yeah. Yeah, because I had just seen the OT, and then I started playing that game. And that game, I think that game had maybe been out for maybe a year when I first started playing it.
Yeah.
Scott is among the 16%. The original 16%.
Yeah.
Something that gave me, I don't know why it caught me off guard when I was listening to this chapter while I was cooking dinner, but Luke mentioned he saw Yoda's iron pots, and I was like, iron? I don't know why that caught me off guard. I just didn't expect iron. Just hearing about what is it, Parasteel and just all the
Durasteel.
Durasteel, my bad.
And Plasteel as well.
Okay, right. My bad.
So did he just bring
hearing that he has iron pots? It's like, oh, people use iron still.
Hey, he may be in exile, but he's not skipping out on his cutlery, on his cooking materials.
Yeah. Well, when he was fleeing to Dagobah, did he just basically get a giant dorm room prep kit or something like loaded up, and then like
he quickly ran to his kitchen and started throwing things in a bag.
Yeah.
He's like,
You know,
"Hey, get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah.
Iron
There's
might
a
be pretty
Walmart on
common.
Dagobah that he went to.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
I'm
That
pretty sure you
or
can
Yoda's a
like just
blacksmith.
shovel mud and distill iron out of it. It might
maybe
depend
he
where
used
you
the
are in
Force.
the world, but yeah, iron's pretty common that you could probably just maybe use the Force, maybe did some old school Iron Age stuff.
He used the Force to separate all the iron particles out of the sand, and then he used the Force to actually compress it into the iron pots and pans shape.
I guess that's an interesting question.
Maybe he reworked parts of the escape pod that he went there in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
think
could
the
be.
escape pod's made of iron, though?
Well, Timothy Zahn doesn't know he took an escape pod there.
That's right. I guess that's an interesting question. Did Yoda ever leave Dagobah once he showed up?
He probably left at one point.
Well, how though? You think he could just get in the escape pod and like just go to Walmart on Coruscant or something?
Yeah.
How long was he there for?
19 years?
19 years?
No, longer than that, because it's plus 3 years, 22 years.
Yeah, but to him that was like nothing. That was like 6 months to him because he's 900 years old at this point.
Yeah.
How long
right.
did Jolie Bindo stay in the Shadowlands of Kashyyyk?
Oh, that's a good question.
That was like 10 or 15 years, right?
I can't recall. I'm going to Wikipedia right now to save us. 20 years.
20 years. Okay. So if Jolie can stand 20 years in the Shadowlands of Kashyyyk, I'm pretty sure that Yoda can last 22 in Dagobah.
But Jolie didn't come from his posh Coruscant life. Yoda was like among the elites. He had a position of influence and power.
Yeah.
Now he's in the mud.
Very humbling experience.
Yeah. I do remember there's a deleted scene for Revenge of the Sith where the escape pod drops down on Dagobah and it opens up, and he looks very displeased. And that expression has actually kind of stuck with me for a bit. He's like,
More importantly, though, did you see the iron pots and pans in the escape pod?
I will have to double check.
Gotta have the essentials. I wonder if it's Kashyyyk metal as well.
If you do, that'd be great. If you just saw a little survival kit in this escape pod.
Yeah, that would.
Just have like a giant crate of like top ramen or something in the like he's moving into a dorm.
Yeah.
But he was going from Kashyyyk, so like he would have Wookiee supplies, like
True.
giant Wookiee steaks or something that's not suited for someone of his size.
But he did stop on Coruscant to fight Sidious.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah. So we know this escape pod has more than one trip in it.
Right.
Mm.
Or maybe that's why they cut it.
Well, was it the same escape pod from Kashyyyk to Coruscant, though?
Yes, it was.
Really?
But maybe they realized that and that's why it's a deleted scene. Yeah.
I guess it is important. Like, it is an escape pod. Maybe there is some sort of like little survival kit in there.
Yeah.
With like a Swiss Army knife and like one of those trenching shovels and some pots and
A
pans.
Swiss Army lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A K-bar knife.
That would be adorable.
It's just varying lengths of a saber. So I would love to hear some theories about what the little... I picture it as like a little radio that he found inside the cave. Like, why do you think it's there? Like, what's up
So
with that?
was it something that they were looking, like they knew they were looking for, or they just happened to get this little signal while they landed? Like after they landed, did they just happen to pick up some? There's an electronic thing over there, and of course it's in the cave.
I think it was more like coincidental.
Okay.
I actually pictured it as a lightsaber hilt because it's got a bunch of dials on it, some script, but the problem is that like Luke would be able to identify a lightsaber unless it's quite esoteric.
But they also kind
and
of
supposedly
briefly
left by the Dark Jedi. So
See, I was imagining literal keys jutting out of it, not like buttons.
Oh.
I was like, oh, I guess it's a puzzle.
one of those Chinese tile sliding puzzles that he has to solve.
Yeah.
He found the lament configuration in Dagobah. Watch Hulu now. No, watch Hellraiser now on Hulu.
But no, it is an actual device then.
Mm.
Also, kind of disappointed.
I'm surprised he just didn't start tapping buttons to see what it would do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do.
Weird that he was disappointed by it. He's like, this is too vague for me. Maybe that's why he was looking for tapes when he got there. He's like, I don't want some sort of vague puzzle I have to figure out. I just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
Just give me the answers, damn it.
Yeah.
Puts together a seance, a summoning circle to summon Yoda.
Right. But what if you just start pushing the buttons and like the lights turned on in the hut and then like Netflix turned on and then like, you know, the little awning thing went up and down and
It's Yoda's Bluetooth controller.
Yeah. It's just his remote that controls everything.
It's his garage door opener.
Yeah, garage door. Yeah.
Actually, where was Yoda? Like, do you think we're ever going to see Yoda again? Or, I mean, in this book?
It's a little weird because you would think because he's spoken to Obi-Wan Kenobi as a ghost, why didn't Yoda be like, hey, what's up? You know?
Yoda's just sick of Luke.
Well, yeah,
Obi-Wan
everybody
Kenobi pieced out early in this book, if you remember.
Right,
so I imagine Yoda has already, he's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Luke's coming by? Damn it, I gotta find a reason to
He's
get out
gonna
of
ask me more questions about the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to die again. He just keeps asking me so many questions.
He's like, God damn it, I earned my retirement.
It's like that meme, you know, it's like my kid keeps asking me a bunch of questions and I finally understand why Yoda just dies.
600 years I trained younglings, and this guy comes along.
He was just the worst.
He was the worst.
He's the worst of them all.
So that device, you think that it's Yoda's, or do you think it's from the Dark Jedi?
Dark
That we've been
Jedi.
hinting at? Yeah?
I'm not sure because I don't think it's Yoda's, but I'm not sure if the Dark Jedi would. It felt like it was almost intentionally left there.
Didn't they previously mention a Dark Jedi going to Dagobah?
They do in the previous. I think it's chapter 9.
We reminded Luke to go to Dagobah to maybe search for stuff from Yoda.
Right.
Right, yeah. Could be left by whoever that Dark Jedi is.
Yeah, and for the life of me, I can't remember what this thing is. If we ever find out what it is, but
It's okay, we don't know either. We'll figure it out.
We don't need to know at this point. We're just speculating.
right.
Yeah.
But you know, to continue the conversation of if it was Yoda's or the Dark Jedi's, I have no idea. But I don't think it was either of the. Well, because to me it feels like it was intentionally left there, but I don't think it was left by Yoda. And if it was left by a Dark Jedi, how would they know somebody was coming to find it?
Could you imagine if this is a very elaborate trap set by Thrawn?
Maybe.
Wait, he heard Mara Jade's voice in the cave. Do you think it's Mara Jade's?
That's a possibility, but how would? Well, unless is she Bpfassh? Do we know that?
Bpfassh.
Bpfassh. We don't know where she comes from, and we don't know if she has a connection to the Force or not yet at this point.
Yeah.
But if she did, what if she was the Dark Jedi that went to Dagobah?
You know, maybe.
She would have to be a lot older, though. Like, it seems that from what we've heard so far, that she's quite about the same age as our heroes, and that she would have to be significantly older than Lando, than to have been one of the generals during the Clone Wars.
Was it during the Clone Wars that this
I'm sorry,
mysterious
I mean-
Dark Jedi went to Dagobah?
Yeah.
Why I don't remember why when this was put there.
Right. In the previous chapter, they told us that previous chapter or the previous chapter?
I think it was 9.
9? Yeah. So in chapter 9, Leia says that during the Clone Wars, for some reason, some Jedi were broken by the experience, and they went on some dark side rampage through this section of the galaxy, getting as far as Dagobah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. So it's
So-
not Mara Jade's.
yeah.
One thing I was thinking of, one of the previous chapters, how Wedge, I think it's 10, Leia's talking about Dark Jedi, and Wedge goes, "Oh, you mean C'baoth?" And then he says Joruus C'baoth, which is his clone name. How would Wedge know he was a clone?
What if this belongs to the original Joruus C'baoth?
Ooh.
Yeah. But my point is, how would Wedge know that he was a clone unless it was an oversight by Timothy Zahn, where he should have written the name Joruus instead of Joruus?
I think that because that happened such a long time ago, then they don't know as specifically as Thrawn does that Joruus and Joruus are different. So I think that might be kind of an oversight in public knowledge, not in the. And so they're saying, oh well, Joruus C'baoth is out there in this place, and because that's going to be an easy cover story for Joruus to keep, rather than saying Joruus. And everybody else is like, was it Joruus? That sounds kind of familiar. So
Yeah.
let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Well, because the whole cloning operation feels like it was done by the Empire. But, yeah, I mean, I don't want to take us too far off topic here, but did they know?
Did who know?
The public? Did they know about Joruus versus Joruus?
I don't know if they do.
Because it seems like the whole cloning of Joruus seems like the Republic, and especially somebody like Wedge, would not have known about him being cloned.
I think that's a little bit of meta knowledge from us about the book. And I think that people in the universe would be a little bit more vague about it, because you got to think that this information came from Thrawn himself. Not even Pelleaon picked up on Joruus and Joruus being a mispronunciation.
Okay, that's true.
And so because Thrawn has very specific knowledge of this, so do we. Whereas in universe, it might be more vague, if not completely obscure.
Thank you, Thrawn, for enlightening us all.
I have one further theory on the device, and it's the most convoluted of all.
All right, let's hear it. Let's go.
So the dark side tree was the dark side cave was the result of the Dark Jedi, but the device is not actually from the Dark Jedi. However, it's not from Yoda, but Yoda did place it there as a test for Luke.
My God.
And he didn't find it the first time, but for some reason he's found it the second time.
Or Yoda planted it just before he died. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I was thinking maybe he planted it after Empire Strikes Back, but before Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Or he could have planted it before, and Luke was supposed to find it on his first run, but didn't. We won't know until we get more information about this device. But
congratulations, Luke. You have earned the access to my Netflix account. For passing your test.
But then it's not Yoda's either. It's something that Yoda found that he thinks will be useful, but he was just in possession of it and then left it for Luke. So it's not specifically Yoda's, but Yoda did place it there for him under the cover of whatever corruption that the Dark Side Cave and Dark Jedi had there.
That's very Dumbledore of him.
Yeah.
So do you think Yoda actually knew what it was? You think he intentionally placed it there? to find that little thing instead of just some random thing.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Yoda might know that it was there and that it was specifically for Luke. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this mystery. It's got a lot of stuff wrapped around it that could possibly.
I guess it also depends on how it helps them later.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we find out what it is in the next chapter.
No, we're gonna go find Lando finally.
Yes. Priorities, Kyle.
Yeah, priorities. We got to get to Lando. So the last chapter mentioned, okay, we got to go find Lando. I was like, yes, Lando's coming up.
We got to go find out the recipe for the hot chocolate.
And now this chapter, we've got Lando.
Right, and we got to go slap him for that. Yeah.
Hot chocolate and Colt 45.
We got to go throw it in his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one little thing that I wanted to point out, though, and the Athega system has been mentioned before by Thrawn.
Ooh.
As he was talking with Pelleaon about having to assault the system for some reason or conduct a raid there, and Pelleaon was like, but we're going to have to take off all of our sensory gear to get in there. And he said, no, it's not going to be a problem because we've got
right. I remember this
Force Boy
exchange
here to conduct everything. And I was like, oh, geez. So it looks like things are converging around Lando.
Good catch.
Come on, Lando.
Yes, let's go.
It was like a lot of things are going to come to the head.
Yeah. Looking forward to this next part.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes chapter 11. This has been The Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you joined us.